Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237. Come at you with another classic Universal monster movie for the month of October. And this time I'll be doing 1932's The Mummy, which I'm showing you the cover like that because, like all my other ones, it's part of this collection. Now, this came out in 1932, stars Boris Karloff, and it was directed, the name of the director escapes me. Directed by Karl Freund, I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it. Karl Freund, who also directed, I believe, Dracula, which came out the year before this, as did Frankenstein, which Karloff was in. And a cool note about that is Frankenstein doesn't really have a lot of music. Dracula has none. That was because they were one of the first talkies for a Universal. They didn't really know how to put music into it. But The Mummy does have music. And I do believe this is the first mummy type horror film. It did have sequels, at least for the Universal time. Like, I think there was The Mummy's Hand and Curse of the Mummy. And then there's like 5 films in Hammer, like once you get up to the Hammer era. And yeah, the 1999 film with Brendan Fraser is kind of a loose remake because you do have a mummy named Imhotep trying to bring back, his love, his bride, which he sees in the love interest of the main character. And even the alter ego, well, not really alter ego, the assumed identity he takes on in present day, I believe is the name of Aldous Bay. Well, it's Ardoth Bay. I believe that's the name of the guy with the bird that watches over. I don't know. The thing about The Mummy is this has always been my least favorite of like the classic monsters. As a monster and as a film. I mean, even though it's my least favorite, it's still a good film. There's a lot of good things about it. Jack Pierce does the makeup effects as he did for Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein. And the effects are outstanding, whether it's the decomposed, preserved mummy, which would be at the beginning of the film, or it's even like the up close shots where it's like the wrinkles, or even one of the last shots where it's like that cross fading Wolfman type editing. Basically, it opens up in 1921. There's these two archaeologists who find the tomb of Imhotep. And a cool little thing, if you look at the tomb, the face on it does resemble Boris Karloff. And that's another thing that is good about this movie, is the production. The sets, the costumes, the locations. And it is a nice different change of pace because you have Visible Man, which has kind of a noir feel, not really, but kind of. But certainly Dracula, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, they're all dark gothic horror films. Lots of darkness or fog or woods or like cemetery gates type thing. This is out in the desert, in the sun, very Egyptian, look and feel. The costumes did a great job. One of the I guess assistants to the archaeologist, who the actor was it was an assistant to one of them, played by Bramwell Fletcher. He reads this scroll, I'm guessing from like the Book of the Dead, that brings that brings Imhotep back to life. And he sees the mummy and he's driven mad. We don't see him for the rest of the film. And the actor did a good job, but I really wanted to see Dwight Fry in that role because I'm a Dwight Fry fan. You know, I think his role as Renfield in Dracula is like the best performance of someone who's gone mad. I don't know. The guy did fine, but I would have liked to see Dwight Fry. So that was in 1921. Then we jump up 10 years later, even though it says 1932, so it's 11 years. And we have these new archaeologists that are involved with it. And one of them sort of has this love interest with this woman named Helen, played by Zita Johann, who is half Egyptian, and she looks just like Imhotep's bride. So he tries to, kind of like the Brandon Fraser movie, tries to get her and use her to resurrect his bride, and she needs to be saved. And that's basically the film. I mean, it's like 75 minutes. It's not very long. It's just, there's a lot of down parts. Of course, the highlight of the film is Boris Karloff, and he does do a fantastic job. I really like the shots where I'm guessing it's some sort of like, the spell is either like telepathic or something. These up close shots of him, and there's like lights on his eyes that gradually get brighter. Karloff has a great gaze. I would even say better than, Lugosi's gaze in Dracula is pretty iconic, but Karloff has quite a stare as well. And really the most interesting part of the film would be when Imhotep tells his history to Helen. How, his beloved died, and he found this scroll of the dead, and he stole it, and he tried to bring her back. He was found, and which is an unholy thing, so he was sentenced to death by being mummified alive. Which, even as a kid, when I saw the Brandon Fraser movie, that freaked me out. Like, I couldn't imagine being mummified alive. It's not near as graphic as this. I mean, we see him getting wrapped up alive and then put in his tomb. The music goes great with it. Karloff, you can tell he's panicked and freaking out. That's the most interesting part of the film. I mean, I don't really want to say it's boring, but it can be. I mean, compared to the rest of these, it is, even for its forgivingly short running time, it is a tad boring. I never really found mummies, other than like Goosebumps when I was a kid, to be as interesting as, say, vampires or Wolfman or even like Frankenstein's monster. But, I mean, there's still a lot of good things about it. It's not a bad movie at all. Just, I prefer the other ones more. I guess there was some sort of criticism. I was reading up on it about, like, something about how Egyptian culture is portrayed, and I don't know. I didn't read too much into it. And I do know that Universal wants to do their, what's it called? The Universal Dark or whatever, where they remake them. And I know like the Mummy was remade again with Tom Cruise, and I guess that movie was absolute shit. The next one's gonna be Bride of Frankenstein, which is my favorite of the monster movies. I guess this video hasn't been super informative, but story-wise there is more to it, I guess, but that's the gist of it. He gets brought back to life, wants to find his bride. He's been masquerading because he is wrinkly normally, and then he wears all this makeup to try to look normal when he's that Bay guy. And the makeup was still phenomenal even for back then. I mean, I know Lon Chaney Sr. is the man of 1,000 faces, but Karloff could transform himself as well. I mean, you have two examples right here. But yeah, it is my least favorite of this era that I've seen so far, especially of the big classic monsters like these. Of course, the one that's missing would be Creature from Black Lagoon, which I do like more than Mummy. So it's not a bad film, it's just more slowly paced, and you know, where it is out in the sun a lot in the desert, Egyptian sets and costumes, it is different. Again, the sets and costumes were very well done, but the Mummy, it's just not my favorite. But can I recommend it? Absolutely. There's still a lot of great things about it. But yeah, not the best review I could have done, but it's really late. I'm fucking tired. I believe this is my 300th video, so could be wrong. But if so, then that's awesome. And I don't know when I'll have time. I know in my, I think it is my couple videos before this. Oh, it was my Batman Dracula video. I said I'll be on a short hiatus for a while, so this might be my last one for a while, but you know, please stay tuned, and thank you all for watching.